We had to create our sets, and then we had to create scale miniatures of those sets so that the spider puppet, which is only about yay high, looked like it was, 12, 15 feet tall. So we had to create a scale miniature of our cave because we have shots with the actors in front of the cave, but then we also have the giant spider emerging from the cave. Our art team brought together, a bunch of people who had been building models and things like that just as hobbies for years to create the, fantastic models that you see in this episode.
I sort of planned out what I wanted this spider cemetery to look like, and then I worked with a number of people who actually specialize in working with miniatures. Some
of my favorite movies from when I was a kid growing up feature miniatures, things like the Indiana Jones movies and Tim Burton's early stuff, all incorporate just really high quality miniatures that you can't tell the difference when it's shot properly if you're looking at something full size or tiny. So we wanted to do something of that scale.
This was the most elaborate and ambitious project that I've ever worked on. Just because there was so much. It was such an art-heavy production.
We created this spider cemetery, which originally was just going to be kind of a small thing with a gate, but when they started building this thing, and it goes on a table that's probably about 8 feet long and 4 feet deep, just the amount of detail and the scale of what we were seeing was so impressive.
We started with placing styrofoam objects and recycled goods like computer cardboard boxes and laying out the land. And after that we took fabric, covered it, and then put layers on top of that. And we used things like coffee grind to make the dirt, twigs to bake trees.
We use things like oregano and herbs to make a little bit more detail in the dirt for leaves. It's a lot of stuff that you can just get at home and kind of put together, and it really turns out looking amazing. The biggest challenge was just the scope of everything. When you start looking at the fact that we had almost 8 or 9 different set builds and just a limited amount of time, a limited amount of money, and a limited amount of people to do it, it's just, we really had to all come together.
So after I started working on my shot list, we realized that we needed 3 puppets. We needed the full-on spider puppet so that we could see the whole thing. We needed the face of the spider so that it could eat things and take hits and stuff like that. And then we had these big spider legs on sticks to poke at the actors. All those things had to look like they were part of the same beast. The first person I went to go talk to about building these spider puppets was a man I know, Chad Costin. He's skilled at both building puppets and puppetry. I went and talked to him about it. He was pretty excited and started, putting concepts together and stuff.
So I did some sketches of different heads, and we kind of narrowed down the one that we thought would work the best. I basically went back to when I was a kid and I used to build things. And so for a mock-up, I thought, well, I'll do it out of Lego. So I built a leg out of Technic Lego and got the tendons working, and it's made out of dental floss. And then as I was building it, I realized, this stuff, it was kind of meant to be temporary, just kind of being playful, getting my head in that space. And in the end, I actually used all those things. So I built the small hand puppet version around a gardening glove, and the middle finger was to move its head. The front 4 fingers were the front 4 legs. So I could control those, and they could bend right over on basically a cable system. And then the back 4 legs were connected to wheels and geared up with the Technic Lego, so I could roll across the ground and get them to move left and right and walk as he went. Michael becomes a zombie spider, so I had to take him from giant, semi-scary spider to scarier spider. And the change was actually really subtle, but the main thing was I put glow paint in the eyes, made an alternate head that was a little bit more rough looking, added some powder and dust to the fur, and then did some glow paint highlights on all the detailing. So some of that pops through when he comes out of the ground, and he just looks a little bit more undead. As soon as you put on a puppet, it's just the puppet becomes alive, and you're not really there anymore, and it's just doing whatever it does on its own. Watching people see that only and not you, you kind of disappear, and they're really entertained by the character that's in front of them. Whether you're scaring someone through your character, you're making them laugh through the character, that's the joy of being a puppeteer. It's having emotional impact on your audience.